Welcome to the Chase MedSearch Podcast, the place where we dive deep into the medical device sales industry by discussing the current trends, timeless philosophies, and amazing experiences that shape our niche of the industry. Join me, Jordan Chase, on a guided tour as I speak with established sales leaders and professionals as they share stories that will help you get in, stay in, and thrive in your medical device sales career. Let's start the show. Welcome back to the Chase MedSearch Podcast. I'm excited to have my next guest on because he's the one that got me into this podcasting game to begin with. And that is Jamie Tipton, the founder and principal of Clutch City Medical. Clutch City Medical is a medical technology company offering interventional spine and pain consulting services, as well as advanced surgical solutions in the Houston, Texas area and surrounding counties. And they also have other partners that I think we'll hear about today. They are the mothership, if you will, franchise of the IVP group and is the birthplace of the overall company. They live by the motto, physician-centric, patient-focused, delivering best-in-class products designed to drive the best possible outcomes for patients and physician customers. Jamie, welcome back to the Chase MedSearch Podcast.
Jordan, a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me, man. And by the way, you're doing this way better than I ever did it. Podcasting was, it's an incredible mode of communication, but man, you're taking it to the next level. I'm an avid listener, man, and fan. So thanks for having me.
Hey, I really appreciate it. None of it would happen without Alicia and her great team.
Absolutely.
She cleans up everything and makes it sound awesome. But I am excited to have you back. And your business is just booming. I hear about you coast to coast. I hear about some great partners you've got established. And it's long overdue to have you back on to talk about the things that are happening with Clutch City Medical, the partners you've got, the technology profile that you've built out, and just some really extraordinary product offerings. So I just want to jump right on in. What's changed since the last time we had you on, which was, about a year ago? Talk to us about what you're offering these days. Where are you at? What kind of spaces are you guys playing in?
Yeah, no, Jordan, I appreciate it, man. It's a good question, and it's a good place to start. I guess a lot's changed since the last time we spoke, quite a bit. But I will tell you that I'm more passionate now than I was then, and I was really passionate then about my company, the partners we work with. My employees are incredible people, and I'm really blessed to have a great team around me. You're only as good as your team.
Yeah.
And I've just been really, really fortunate to have a team that just understands, and what they don't understand about medical device, they want to learn. And so, we're doing something, Jordan, it's really unique.
Yeah.
It's not a normal distribution channel. It's not a normal distribution company.
Yeah. Tell us how you set yourself apart. I know you're different. But tell us, what is the difference about you guys versus anybody else that's out there trying to do this stuff?
It's the business acumen portion. And there's a lot of really smart, really great distribution partners. And there's guys and girls that do different things with their distribution business. But what we bring, in addition to what you should bring, which is good clinical products that make sense, you need to bring value in a world where, value is kind of the key term. It's the hot phrase. But we're doing it in a whole different light because we're utilizing, without giving away, I don't want to give away my business secrets, so to speak, but
sure.
And it's not really a secret. Mm-hmm. It's just the way that we deploy it. Mm-hmm. We just do more on the marketing front in terms of just helping develop the market, making connections where they need to be made, and really taking a full term approach, not just hey, how many cases do you have today? Oh, by the way, can you use this kind of approach?
Yeah.
It's a true partnership. Mm-hmm. And I know it sounds kind of vague, but it's the ability to have a type of company and a type of distribution. And I don't even like the word distributor as much. It's more of a medical technology company, but I'm offering a franchise model. Mm-hmm. It's the flexibility of a 1099. And that's really also a point I wanted to talk about today is this is a new generation type of company. Mm-hmm. And it's the flexibility of a 1099, but it's the security of a W-2.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that with this audience in particular, because there are people that are distributors or thinking about making a move to try to be a distributor, and it's a bit of a scary proposition for some. Others are very energized by it. It seems to me like the baseline is to talk about technology. And you guys have a technology portfolio that includes SI joint fusion, kyphoplasty, vertebroplasty. You have cannula.
Yeah, we have an RF portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
MIS, lumbar fusion. I mean, we've got a plethora of products, and it's actually hard for me not to carry more, but you don't want to be mediocre with 25 things in your bag, right?
Right.
Everything that we have, we're true experts in.
Yeah.
And we know inside and out. And I think that's an important feature that you just can't overlook. I mean, most people want the distributors to carry everything. And we do. If somebody wants something, like we'll go out and we'll try and source that, right? I mean, I think that's part of being a good partner.
Yeah. These are incredible brands that you're carrying too. You've got Versa, you've got Spinal Simplicity, Merit Medical,
We do.
Gratis Medical. These are names that people know immediately when they see it.
Yeah, I mean, and we're fortunate. And that's some of that is, I would say it's luck, but it's also, my original network. And Jordan, you're a big proponent of a strong network. That helps tremendously when you're trying to get something like this started in terms of manufacturer relationships.
Mm-hmm. In terms of your hope and, positive outcome out of this podcast or whatever, in terms of all that you're doing, are you looking for more distributor partners at this point?
Yeah, so I'm looking to expand franchises. Okay. And I mean, we have 3 franchises today.
Mm-hmm.
We have Momentum Medical. They're out of Arizona. It's an incredible team ran by John Reed. They cover the Phoenix area and some Tucson. And then we jump over to, actually, it's funny, I didn't even mean for this to happen per se, but we have a franchise in Maryland called Essential Pain Solutions. And I mean, my mom lives in Maryland. My parents live up there still. I have a brother as well up there and one of my nieces. So he actually, he's in Bel Air. I'm going to be flying out there next week and I'm going to be hanging out with my mom, having dinner, which is cool, and doing a little business, which is also cool. Yeah. But anyway, it's Noe Rivera runs that franchise up there. And then we actually have the mothership, like you had mentioned, the Clutch City Medical franchise, kind of just the original, is here in Houston. And we do business all over Houston, south of Houston. I mean, we're kind of all over the map.
Yeah.
Kind of Texas-ish, but based in Houston. And so I'm looking to expand.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this model has been really, people have taken it well. Mm-hmm. And that's on both the customer and also the representative front. It's so interesting to talk to people. There's so many direct representatives of big companies, it's a good position to be in, to be with a big company with some good products. You can't fault them for that. But at the same token, when I walk into an office, I'm not agnostic to companies. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm there for the doctor.
Right.
I'm not company agnostic, so I don't have a bias.
As you think about sort of the ideal profile of someone that you'd love to bring on as a distributor, I mean, obviously there's a lot of room to grow here. What kind of traits, characteristics, and network would they have? Where would they be good at?
Yeah, you got to be a leader. I mean, you would probably be in some type of leadership role. You don't need to be like a vice president of sales or anything. Mm-hmm. I think if you're a senior territory manager or maybe a regional manager of some type, I think that you'd be a good candidate. Because the way this is framed up, Jordan, is not like you're not just a rep for Clutch City. You're running your own business. I mean, I just provide the infrastructure. Mm-hmm. And so we have a CRM. Okay. I mean, I have a full-blown customized Salesforce.com that is, I worked for big companies and I didn't like Salesforce at all. I love mine because I took everything out of it I didn't want. And so, we're organized like you wouldn't believe. I mean, everything from the analytics to everything's HIPAA compliant, HIPAA tight we do. I mean, we're educating patients. We're doing APP events. We're educating nurse practitioners, PAs. I kind of put everything in there and I provide the infrastructure, Jordan. I mean, it's a profit split situation and you get Salesforce, you get Modus. I'm doing a 401k. Paying for miles through Modus, so you get a fixed car deal with miles. Mm-hmm. Again, it's a W-2 position, right? You're a W-2 underneath of me, but you run your own business. I give you a name, you're a DBA off of my EIN.
Nice.
But it's, we help you like anything, like a Chick-fil-A. We're here to support you, mm-hmm. but I'm going to kind of let you do what you want to do. Unless one, it's not working, or two, you just don't want to do it anymore. if that makes sense.
Almost like a franchise is what we're talking about, right? They're setting up their own franchise.
Yeah, I'm giving them lines, right?
Mhm.
I have favorable contracts, and I'm dropping those lines into these areas of need and saying, okay, you have X, X, and X line. Here's what I'm going to provide you from an infrastructure standpoint. And oh, by the way, here's the profit split. I can do a guarantee to get you on your feet. These are things that prevent really, really solid, good, direct employees of big companies from bumping out and doing their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the 6 months that it takes to get going is why people don't do it.
Yeah, because they starve for 6 months until they make their 6 months money.
And they may not be in a position, which is okay too. You may not be in a position in terms of family, or if you have, not saying you couldn't do this if you had a bunch of kids, but it makes it more difficult.
Yeah. I was going to ask, reps that are listening to this come from a wide variety of backgrounds. Obviously, what we're talking about, the absolute center spoke of the wheel is interventional pain and interventional line, right?
Yep.
I mean, those are the physician relationships that can be actualized here.
Yeah. So we're actually starting to work with orthospine. We're kind of getting into that world, which has been fun.
Yeah. It's a big country out there.
It is. Yeah.
Where could you use people right now? If you were looking at a list of target cities or places, you're like, man, we should really, really have someone representing these lines here.
Yeah.
Where would it be?
That's a loaded question. It is a big one. And, a lot of it depends on Jordan too. Like the landscape's different, and I'm finding this out. I mean, I kind of knew this without knowing it, but I'm really finding it out now. Man, the landscapes are so different in every single area. Like there's different obstacles in the way. But I think that if I had to pick, I like Detroit.
Yeah.
I like that Grand Rapids, Detroit market.
Mm-hmm.
I like Florida. I like Colorado. I would say Detroit, Florida, Colorado.
Right now. Mm-hmm. But
yeah,
I don't want anyone in the audience to limit themselves.
No. Montana's good. I mean, it's really, if somebody brought me like, hey, I'm interested in potentially having a franchise or exploring this opportunity, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have a presentation that I give to you, and it's not for everybody, but it's really never been offered before.
Yeah.
Because you're still risky.
Yeah.
But I don't remove all the risk, but I certainly mitigate a fair amount of, the frequently asked questions that people have that want to get into this type of sales role.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we need, in this instance, we're talking about reps that have these level of relationships or have the ability to leverage other relationships to get in front of physicians with these kinds of products, which, it does for the portion of the audience that's listening and thinking this through. As we mentioned, it's interventional pain and spine would be strong. And now Jamie's talking about orthospine too, which is that like a hardware component there, Jamie?
So SI Fusion is a wonderful, wonderful technology space to be in right now. And when orthospine and spine docs, really, I mean, neurosurgeons, all of them do SI Fusion. Not all of them, but, you'll find, like anywhere else, I mean,
mm-hmm.
You'll find docs that don't do it, some docs that do it. But there are a pretty large market out there as far as spine docs are concerned for SI Fusion.
Yeah.
And so that's where we kind of focus. I mean, SI Fusion traditionally, at least for us, has been, it's kind of the bread and butter thing for us. I mean, I personally love it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of what Clutch City was founded on.
Yeah.
If you're going to talk about a technology space per se, that's kind of where we started.
Compensation wise, and talking numbers is always kind of a challenge on a podcast, but
Mm-hmm.
I do know that that's probably a question cycling through people's minds. Do you have a target number in mind, provided things are going well, that you would hope that a first year person that signs up at, let's say in Detroit or Grand Rapids, would hit in their first year? I know it's hard to forecast those things, but ideally, this is kind of your on-target earnings or where we'd like to see you come in at and what we'll do to support and what we've seen in the past. Is there kind of a number there?
Yeah, so it is tough to talk numbers because it does shift a little bit depending on one situation, market, the needs of that person, right? So it's not like a cookie cutter type situation. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like if you're just like, for example, I mean, one of the biggest draws, and I think sometimes people forget this, is that it just is not the per case, because obviously the overhead is going to be lower. There's more profit there per case,
Mm-hmm.
so it won't take you that much volume, so to speak, to get up to where you were before. I mean, if you're talking about like total comp, because we do a salary, I mean, it's a salary plus situation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jordan, honestly, it's hard to say. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
I'm trying to kind of think of a number. I mean, it'd be tough because I don't want to turn people off, and I also don't want to over promise.
Sure. But those are conversations that can be had.
Oh yeah, it's a good question though, and it's definitely a question that comes up like pretty quick.
It's got to be a question going through anybody's mind listening to this podcast.
Yeah, well, they're thinking like, is there a base salary?
Yeah.
Is there, if I come over there, what's the, like, how long is the guarantee?
Mm-hmm.
Questions I get, I can answer all those, because we've done it twice now.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've learned some things, throughout launching both of these areas. And it's still not a perfect situation, but I think we've got it down. Every time we get it a little better and a little smoother. And we keep adding things to help the franchises,
Mm-hmm.
as we go. So it really kind of unburdens them and puts the burden back on the main franchise. I mean, Clutch City is the main franchise, but the group itself is really what takes on some of the infrastructure burden.
Sure. Yeah. No, you're a guy that works with people, a reasonable person, someone who has other people's best intentions in mind. I think that comes through pretty strong, Jamie. I've worked with you for quite a while, and your reputation's extremely solid out there. Very, very solid. It was solid before you ever launched this. You had a great reputation in Houston as a rep. And many people know you, but I'm sure this podcast is exposing you to people that don't know you. And I certainly vouch for it. I would never have you on if I didn't.
Thank you, sir.
And I think one of the things that people think about with, risk is a lot of it is tied to who is the person that is bringing you this opportunity. Are they going to work with you and look out for you? And I think that's what you've got going on here with your opportunity for folks in Detroit, Florida. I think I heard Colorado as starts for this thing.
Yeah. I mean, and I've gotten inquiries from people I know, asking, hey, what could this look like? And it's not like a rinky dink deal. Like, I'm going to sit you down and we're going to talk about, all the franchises get financial health reports,
Mm-hmm.
so you're literally running your own company. I mean, it's my VP of finance, Lauren Super, is a wonderful human being. She's very, very good at what she does. And I mean, she's the heartbeat. I mean, she's got everything, dialed in from a numbers perspective. We're very transparent. And you're looking at, like, Arizona just got they're doing very well down there. They got their financial health report, and John looked at that, saw all the expenses. We have an Amex program. We run Concur. There's budgets. It's a medical technology company.
I'd love to hear you lay out the process a little bit for our audience here around what they can expect.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I don't know if you need to go A to Z, but when someone says, hey, I think I'm ready to do this, I want to hear you out on it. This is what I'm bringing to the table in terms of, say, 15 years of relationships in this corridor, in this space. These physicians are on speed dial on my phone, albeit their kid's bar mitzvah next Saturday or whatever. Someone that is a person of substance coming to you that you're interested in, what does it look like from a process standpoint as that person begins to get exposed to the things that you guys do? How do you go through that or lay that out for them?
Yeah. So, it's actually a pretty streamlined process. I would sit down with them for an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. We would go through, it's a pitch deck is what it is.
Yeah.
It shows just year over year growth, which I will tell you that we had 85% growth last year. So it was a big year for us. And we had, our first quarter was better than our first quarter last year. So, we're off to a hot start. And I showed the trend lines, and I'm like, look, here's what we can do from a support standpoint. And I lay out all the things we do from a support angle. Like I had mentioned before, and I won't go through them all. There's like the 5 or 6 things we do that really support the franchise and support you early. And then I say, okay, what technology portfolios are you going to have? Because that also differs by different areas. Sure. Because not all the companies, and I don't blame them at all, allow me to go in certain areas. They may have representatives in those areas, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's just the nature of this business, is that it's, that may happen. And, I have a set thing that I'd like to drop in, but it doesn't always work out like that. So I go over, here are the viable options. What would you want if you did come into this market? Like, what do you think would move?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know that market,
Right.
but the person I have in front of me does. And we just chat about what the landscape is.
Mm-hmm.
And then I say, okay, well, here's how our franchises now are doing. And I show the numbers on our franchises, whether it's percent growth, dollar volumes, by month, by quarter, by year.
Mm-hmm.
And so they see, okay, obviously this formula works.
Yeah.
Or this wouldn't be able to be in existence.
It seems like you're trying to bring, or you have brought, a great deal of professionalism to an area of medical that hasn't always been known for it. I hear Amex cards, I hear
Right.
expense reimbursements, I hear financial health reports, base salary, things like that. Did you always have a vision that you were going to revolutionize the traditional distributor model?
I mean, no, I didn't. But you know what? I didn't love, although I loved my time at all the companies that I did work for. I didn't love and there are quotas here, right? But not saying I didn't like the quotas, but it felt like a hamster wheel, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt like I was just running on this. This thing was just never going to stop.
Yeah.
And I'm really helping build someone else's dream. When here, although I have franchises and I do support them, and yes, some of those profits do come back to me.
Mm-hmm.
That person that, like John in Arizona, if we open something in Colorado, John's going to be, he was with me early. He's going to be partly responsible for helping bring them up to speed. And then all of a sudden you're talking about having a piece of that come off too.
Sure.
It compounds on top of each other. And then John can kind of manage two franchises. And so you're not building somebody else's dream here. And also I love business.
Mm-hmm.
And people always said, oh, when you have your own territory, you have your own business. And I guess kind of you do, but nobody's giving you financial health reports on your business.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't truly have a franchise business. Like you're just have a business within a couple businesses when you have a territory, because you have one product or two most of the time. I mean, we have a lot.
Yeah.
We do have our favorites, but we're also, let's talk about your practice. Let's talk about what you really want to do. And here's what we see, practices like yours have success with.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't like what I have, then I can go find what they want. It's a different mindset. Spines had this for a while.
Mm-hmm. Traditional
Traditional spines had this type of, which is why they have distributors in place, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Interventional pain is a newer concept. I could sell one practice pretty much at most of what they would use. Not everything. I don't have some of the spinal cord stem stuff, and some of that stuff's not even available to me.
Right.
But it's a different mindset, Jordan, than what they're used to, which again, there's nothing against anybody, but it's a different way of thinking. And I guess long-winded answer to your question is no, I didn't, but I knew that I wanted to do something a little bit different and outside the box. And like I told my now wife, I mean, when we started doing this thing, and really I started my company just to have, a distribution business. And I was like, why can't we just make this rinse and repeat and see where it goes? And so far it's going well. I mean, like anything else, you have your stressful days, and it's like sales anywhere else, really, to a certain degree. I mean, it's ups and downs and hills and valleys, but I think that the valleys are easier to take when you're running the show. And as a franchise owner, nobody's tapping on your back. I mean, unless you're just absolutely just losing money. And again, then we're going to make changes, and we can make changes, and we reserve the right to. Yeah. But at the same token, it's a very clean comp system. There's not a lot of nuances to it. And I'm giving you a lot of keys out of the gate to help ensure that you're at least given the best shot to be successful in your market. So, I mean, I didn't think I would do this, but it's been fun.
You're a creative guy and you're an innovative guy. What are you thinking about next, being able to offer your franchises that you don't currently today? Kind of what's some things that you want to nail down? You're like, man, we don't have this yet, but this is where we're going to go. We're going to get this next.
I mean, there's certain technologies that I'm looking forward to that I think more companies are going to be able to launch here, hopefully in the next year or so. I'd like to get into more of the consulting type area. I'm really fascinated by surgery centers and outpatient surgical settings. I think consulting services on just a higher level for us is something that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
You know what else I'm interested in? And this is kind of a sidebar. And I've been thinking about trying to do this, but there's just not enough time in the day. So there's a couple, there's one guy right now, I won't name him, but he's got like an online course for a medical device. It's essentially like medical sales college, but not medical sales college. It's something else. This is you don't realize how many people actually want to get into medical device. And Jordan, obviously, I mean, you're extremely good at what you do, and you know that, and known that for years. I mean, there's guys making decent coin on just online courses.
Sure.
So, and I think a sales academy is a cool thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I enjoy sales training a lot. So maybe it's something we might offer like academy wise, just, you know, that's could lead into, you know, potentially working for a franchise. I don't know. I mean, I throw a lot of things at the wall, see if it sticks, but, you know, I try not to get too over my skis because it's so much work. It's a lot of work, but yeah, it's definitely a labor of love, man.
Yeah. People tend to see the successful entrepreneurs and folks that have launched their own business, and they see the success, but they sometimes don't have the appreciation for the tremendous amount of work that goes into building that out.
Yeah, it's there's just a lot. I mean, even, you know, boils down to W-2 employer taxes, things that you don't even, you know, I'm like best friends with my CPA now kind of thing. It's just, it's that type of thing, right? That I know that I'm not that good at that. That's why I have people like Lauren, who is she's been a godsend of the company. And, you know, I put people, different personality traits, like Jordan, you would love this. Like everybody who works for the group, no matter your position, they actually get a test called the Berkman. So everybody gets a personality test. And I've really enjoyed looking at that because it does really kind of play out over time, and you can see who works well with others and certain things that they do and why they do it. And it's a good community. And that's another thing too, Jordan, is that actually I get asked this a lot. They're like, why don't your franchises just go do it on their own? Why don't they just do it themselves? And I mean, besides the things that we offer, I think also at its core, I think people want to be on a team to some degree. I mean, people want to be a part of a community. Yeah. And we have calls. I mean, and they're competitive with each other, you know, so it's been really fun to kind of put this stuff together. I mean, we're putting some sales training stuff together. I mean, we'll be down at Aspen in Miami for sure. I mean, we're trying to make as much noise as we can and the right type of noise, you know, and do the right things. So it's an exciting time. It's a different way of thinking. And sometimes I tell my brother this, who, by the way, I give a shout out to, is there's just no way I could ever do this without my brother. There's no way. I mean, I tell him all the time. I
feel the same way about my brother.
He's the yin and yang, and he was here and it was, you know, COVID, and I could barely pay him, you know, so, and he's worked through, and he runs all the daily opera. I mean, he runs Quest City Medical franchise essentially. And he's very, very good at what he does, and he's a technically sound guy. He's been a sponge. I mean, still is. So
fantastic.
I'm not going to sit here and, you know, talk about the company without mentioning him for sure. And actually, the guy I hired in Arizona has the same birthday as John Reed's got the same birthday as me. Yeah. And our Berkmans are pretty much exactly the same. It's pretty wild. Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
I love the development aspect, the insight aspect that you get on your team. How could people get a hold of you? I mean, you have a website, the IVPgroup.com.
Yeah, I think I have do I have a contact me on I may have a contact me on the website. If I don't, then I need to do that. Which, by the way, I use Valet Health. They're a great website company if people are ever looking for that. But you can message me on LinkedIn easily. I'm always on LinkedIn.
Great. Well, I think you'll get some folks, you're going to continue to get interest.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, even if we don't, I mean, if we're going to go into a market, and, you know, I'll just start reaching out to people to see if there's any interest. And there's no real cutout, you know, for what I just have a certain personality. I think that works with it, but, and some personalities just don't.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you taking some time late on a Friday here to record this and share the exciting things your company's doing. Love having you on, always. And like I said, you got me started in this podcasting game, and you're always welcome. I always have green light to come back on anytime you want when you get some new lines or anything else going on, man, that you want to share.
Yeah, no, Jordan, I appreciate you. What a wonderful podcast. Love what you're doing for this community. And I know we'll meet again up in here sometime. I really enjoy it. Keep it up, man. Take care of yourself and travel safe, by the way.
Hey, you too. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on the Chase MedSearch podcast. I hope that you gained some helpful insight from today's episode. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes, and give us a like on your favorite streaming platform. It really helps grow our audience. For more information on Chase MedSearch, visit our website at chasemedsearch.com. Thanks again for joining us. Until next time, I'm Jordan Chase, and this has been the Chase MedSearch podcast.